We had troops from Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut and New York and Pennsylvania, but none from the West until the Michigan boys marched in. And when I received that news, I said, thank God for Michigan. Now, 2 years ago, I issued the Emancipation Proclamation freeing the slaves in the rebel states. That was a military order, and I wanted a permanent law, one that could not be rescinded by any future president. Now, the campaign really began in October of 1863. Several important state elections were being held then, and if the Republicans lost, that would not bode well for the presidential canvass in 1864. But getting the nomination would not be easy. And there were several reasons for this. There was much sentiment against it because no president had served a second term since Andrew Jackson 30 years ago. And so some said that as a matter of tradition, I should step down. And then, of course, there were the radical Republicans who thought I was moving too fast on some issues and not fast enough on the emancipation problem. They thought my Reconstruction policies were much too lenient. And they were pushing for people like Benjamin Butler, John Fremont, Ulysses Grant. I have people in my office nearly every day arguing for vengeance against the South. 3 of those who come quite regularly is the triumvirate of the Senators Ben Wade of Ohio, Zachary Chandler of Michigan, and Congressman Thaddeus Stevens from Pennsylvania. They come in much more often than I care to think about. They were in one day, and Wade exploded in anger. And he said, "This country is going to hell under this administration, and we're not a mile from it as we speak." I looked at him and I said, "A mile from hell, Senator? That's about the distance from here to the Capitol, is it not?" So Chase and Grant were out of the race. June 7th came. The convention was held. I was unanimously supported for re-election after the hot-headed farmers in Missouri were shown the right way to vote. Andrew Johnson was chosen to replace Hannibal Hamlin for vice president. And Johnson said, after accepting the nomination, "What will the aristocrats do with a rail splitter for a president and a tailor for a vice president?"
So when I met Mr. Lincoln, I was sure he was going to do the job because he could help me get rid of that great evil in our country. You see, as a good Todd, we need to help our country. That's our reputation, that's our goal, is to make our country a great country, the best in the world.
Neither party expected for the war the magnitude or the duration which it has already attained. Neither anticipated that the cause of the conflict might cease with, or even before the conflict itself should cease. Each looked for an easier triumph, and a result less fundamental and astounding. Both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. It may seem strange that any man should dare to ask a just God's assistance in wringing their bread from the sweat of other men's faces. But let us judge not that we be not judged. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and a lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations.